Let's look more at this Epstein bill. This is your brief but brief. After an almost unanimous vote in the House and Senate, followed by Trump's signature the very next day, the Epstein Files Transparency Act that would dictate the release of the infamous Epstein files is law. There's been a lot of talk of what we will and won't get, so I thought it appropriate to look at what's on paper. This bill is much broader than the original DOJ investigation, as it's not prosecution focused. So besides case files that primarily based around the defendants, such as anything relating to Epstein, Maxwell, flight logs, etc., this bill expands upon that. Individuals and entities in connection with Epstein's activities, existing immunity deals, plea agreements, and settlements, all communications, including those within the DOJ, affecting the investigation and relevant evidence on Epstein and his associates, and finally, noted documentation surrounding Epstein's time in prison and death. Ideally, Congress would receive unclassified files within 30 days of the bill's signing. But like many instances before, the release of certain files can be delayed due to an ongoing investigation, like the one the DOJ just started recently, an instance that is written into this very bill, in addition to national security concerns in the context of classified information. Remember, this release is unclassified. For example, this bill lays out that a criteria for what's classified, as established by the president via executive order, can act as a permitted withholding. But at this time, no executive order has been issued. There are some guardrails, a declassification mandate to make this release as unclassified as possible, and if there's any sort of redactions, there needs to be an accompanying explanation for why, most likely laid out during this 15-day window following whatever release is made to Congress that will flesh out what is and isn't released via report from the Attorney General. What is notable in this third bullet to be included in the report to Congress is a list of all persons named or referenced in these materials. I already highlighted this in the provisions of these files, but this is specifically laid out as the only grounds for not being withheld by the DOJ, regardless of the implications. So whether they are complicit to a crime or their reputation is damaged from just being named in these files, those individuals have to be included. Pam Bondi has already said publicly they would release materials within the 30-day window, but also made known they would do so in a manner that would be along the lines of how the law is written, referring to victim privacy as well as the exemptions in this bill. So we may expect delays in redactions. What exactly will we see once it arrives to Congress? That's until next time.